Hi everyone. The answer to the video thumbnail is that you need an arc. So like, there's your answer, but let me explain some stuff. How about? My name's Comfy and I'm a VTuber and video editor. There's a good chance you've seen some stuff I've worked on if you're in the VTubing space, but the advice I'm about to give is universal for shorts editing, so don't worry. Additionally, at the end of this video, my goal is that you will now have a better sense of how to choose clips to turn into shorts, as well as understanding how to lay the groundwork for any story time videos you might make. So what do I mean by an arc? Well, in a lot of traditional media, movies, games, books, etc., they typically sort of follow a 3-act structure. And I know I'm talking about film right now, but just stay with me. So movies are typically divided into 3 acts: the setup, the confrontation, and the resolution. Almost all movies are broken up this way, with a few exceptions. I'm gonna use the original Star Wars as an example, because probably most of you have seen that, or at least know what I'm talking about. Act 1 is the setup. In the setup, we meet Luke Skywalker. He's down on his luck, he hates his stupid sand planet, and then he meets like a hooded guy, and like his aunt and uncle die, and it's like this guy's fault. And these events sort of set up the rest of the movie, right? Act 2, the confrontation, is the bulk of the movie. We kind of see him go off on his adventures, he's gaining strength, he's making friends, yada yada yada. And then Act 3, the resolution, is the climax of the film. Everything in the movie up to this point has been building and building and building until Luke and his team finally blow up the Death Star. Spoilers. And each of these acts grows on one another, right? If you know what you're looking for, you will see this in almost every blockbuster movie. They don't stray from this formula too much. So all of this is sort of the movie's arc, right? Jokes, very similarly, have a 3-part structure, but in a much shorter span of time. The first part of the joke is the setup, the second is the build, and the third part is the punchline. You'll find a lot of jokes sort of skip the second part, but the theory is still there. A man walks into a bar, that's the setup. Then whatever the middle of that joke is, all the things that, I'll give you $20 if you finish this shot without touching the shot glass, or like whatever, right? And then part 3, the punchline, is typically a twist. It's what turns everything on its head, and then you laugh, right? 3 parts. An arc. So now to YouTube Shorts. I'm gonna be moving pretty fast, so if you guys end up having any follow-up questions about anything I'm about to talk about, please leave them in the comments below. I'll make sure to answer each and every question to the best of my ability. So what do I mean when I talk about making sure that your shorts have an arc? Well, let's look at this example from VTuber Punkalopi.
Please do not take this video down. This is for educational purposes. People on TikTok seem to be convinced that VTubers have a button for everything. There's a button to remove the ears. There's a button to remove the hair. So when I made a post about me having undecided boob sizes, and someone says, oh, one day she'll just hit the wrong button and then we'll see the boobs. I hate to admit it, but that person is actually right. I do have a button to remove my dress. Let me be clear. There it is. That's the truth. There are no boobs. I lied.
So this is a video that I put together for Punkalopi. And just as a note, all the videos I'm showing are videos that I edited myself and have permission to be showing you guys. So let's break this down a little bit. We start off with the setup.
Please do not take this video down. This is for educational purposes.
In short form video, this is often also known as the hook, but this is the setup for sort of the arc of this short, right? And then we have section 2, and this is building. We're gonna build on everything. You're invested. Don't take this down. What's she gonna say? Oh my God. And then we get to the meat of it. That's the second part. That's the build.
People on TikTok seem to be convinced that VTubers have a button for everything.
We're kind of building on the core concept. She's got you hooked. There is now this ongoing mystery on what is she going to say? Where is this all going? And then we have the payoff, Act 3.
Let me be clear. There it is. That's the truth. There are no boobs. I lied.
And then there we have it. That short, for me, has 3 acts. We got the beginning, the setup, the middle portion, the build, and then the punchline, right? Like just any sort of classic joke. In the middle of this, there's a lot of smaller jokes to kind of keep people, on their toes, right? But if you break this down to its essence, it is a 3-part thing. Having your videos sort of be in this format, for me, makes them much more replayable, much more enjoyable, much more shareable, because you sort of feel satisfied at the end. You're like, okay, I got hooked in and the payoff was worth it. We're gonna watch another one from Lopi.
Do you guys know what the most important part of a human body's diet is? Well, guess what? I know what it is, and I'm about to share this ultimate secret with you. The most important part of an every single day diet is... I didn't get this far in writing my script. I don't know much about humans, but from what I do know about humans, you guys seem to eat a lot of carbs. I'm a vegetable girl. I really like vegetables. I like eating lettuce, I like fruits, I like veggies. I like carrots a lot, but I don't eat too many carrots. I drink a lot of Red Bull. Red Bull is my equivalent of your guys' carbs. But what can make your life better? I know what I think can make it better. More me. More Lopi, that's right, more Lopi in your daily diet, and suddenly life gets a million times better.
Pull back the curtain a little bit. Lopi was not lying when she said,
I didn't get this far in writing my script.
Lopi, in my opinion, is a very good storyteller. She's one of the best. So even though she kind of lost the plot a little bit in the middle of recording this, she's still able to kind of stick the landing here. Even though this is a very different kind of video, we still have the 3 parts. We have the setup here.
Do you guys know what the most important part of a human body's diet is?
We're asked a question, you know, we're like, what is she gonna say? Are we gonna get a tip? Are we gonna get a joke? You know what? And then we get to the punchline.
I know what I think can make it better. More meat. More Lopi, that's right, more Lopi in your daily diet, and suddenly life gets a million times better.
And then in typical Punkalope fashion, we have the epilogue here with her little giggles, right? Which also help kind of capstone the video. So even though this is sort of an unconventional, like, story, it has all the 3 parts, and therefore feels like you've watched a complete thing. So those were 2 good examples, but what about some bad examples? Well, we're gonna look at some of my old TikToks. Now, in these videos I'm about to show, we're gonna see my old model, so, you know, appreciate the glow up here. But these are videos that I don't feel meet the mark that I am describing now. These videos do not have an art, and frankly, watching through some of these, I was sort of cringing a little bit that I uploaded these to the entire internet to see. But I'm gonna show them to you now, so we'll all cringe together. Avatar: The Last Airbender. The Airbender? That's the whole short. That was it. What was that? You may be asking yourselves, and I don't really blame you. Did this have a setup? Avatar: The Last Airbender. No, it barely has the middle part. The Airbender? I don't really feel like I'm gonna count this, the Airbender, as the punchline. It's just missing all the parts. It's just a video of me pronouncing a word wrong. Like, it's kind of just sort of nothing, right? Another bad example. Oh my goodness! Ah! No! No! Get away! Get away, you! And then he's like, rah! Oh, what a big bird. That video kinda has like a capstone, but I wouldn't necessarily call this line, what a big bird, the punchline, because this didn't really have a setup. We're kind of just thrown in. There's no context for this clip. Like, I just sort of made this PNG of this bird, and it was enormous, and it made me laugh in the moment, right? But, like, you don't know that by watching this clip. Nobody knows that because I didn't explain myself. We just jump into this bird being big. There's no middle part. It's just sort of me screwing around with this bird image. I think this is a good lesson. Things might be funny on stream, but a lot of times, like, that doesn't really translate to the wider audience that is the internet. Maybe your community thinks this is funny. Maybe it was a very funny moment, but, like, if there's no sort of explanation, it becomes sort of rough to give to the world. Just a little bit of context goes a long way, and we're missing that here by a lot. All right, let's jump into another good example. This is Clara Dogford.
My worst stat is my Constitution stat. If we were to make my stats in Dungeons and Dragons, my Constitution is by far my dump stat. When I was a child, I had really bad asthma and just garbage organs. Look, I think my only decent stat is charisma. Anyway, gym class was awful and I hated it. But once I got to college, I just didn't feel like any problems in my lungs. And I was like, oh, cool. I guess I just like outgrew asthma. That's great. I was wrong. That doesn't happen.
Okay, so again, this video meets the mark for the 3 acts, right? So we have a very clear setup.
My worst stat is my Constitution stat.
So it's not only a setup, but you kind of get a feel like we got sort of a nerdy aspect going on if we're talking about D&D stuff. And then we have the bulk of it, which is explaining why she's talking about that.
When I was a child, I had really bad asthma and just garbage organs.
So that's all the act 2, right? And then right here, we hit the punchline.
I was wrong. That doesn't happen.
This isn't really a punchline in the sort of classical sense of the word. It hammers the comedy of the situation in, and ideally seeing this will make you laugh, right? Now I've shown 3 examples of videos I feel have a good arc. Even though those 3 videos are pretty different across the board, we're gonna show some more bad examples from me. Now this is just sort of nothing. Hee-haw or hee-haw. I'm just having fun with my voice. Like, this isn't really worth a short for me. Like, I also, like, I think I was excited that I set up my OBS so I could, like, do zooms and things, like, in stream. But, like, I'm not explaining that. Like, you don't know what this is. There's just Stardew in the background. It's just this real small thing, and I didn't even crop it right. Like, this is just sort of a disaster. I believe in the heart of the cards. It's me, Yu-Gi-Oh! That's nothing. I just put a prop on my head and said something that was like kind of funny. This barely has the middle part. There's no punchline. There's no setup. It's all just middle. You need to make your shorts well-rounded, right? Okay, this is Ruby Vox. Ruby has very good examples of short and long form arcs. Let's start with the short one.
I'm also about to pound some chicken tenders.
Hey, who you pounding?
Chicken tenders! Yo, anybody named Chicken Tenders in the chat? I'm looking to smash.
So again, I feel like this follows the 3-act structure, but it's sort of in a different way, right? We have the setup here.
I'm also about to pound some chicken tenders.
We're in the middle of a conversation, and then this person comes in and makes a joke, right? The act 2, the build on this is not very long, right?
Yo, anybody named Chicken Tenders in the chat?
Is there anyone named Chicken Tenders in the chat? We are escalating the situation until finally
I'm looking to smash.
we have the double entendre, right? And that's it. That's very funny. For an added example, let's just imagine that the short started here.
Yo, anybody named Chicken Tenders in the chat? I'm looking to smash.
Like, if it started there and we didn't have any of that setup, it would still be, like, kind of funny, but it's an incomplete picture, right? Like, we don't have any context. What is she talking about? Why is she saying that? That would be sort of a lot more similar to these bad ones that I showed you a moment ago. So it's really important to kind of nail all 3 parts, right? Like, just having a good punchline isn't enough. You need to complete the arc. All right, this is a longer one from Ruby.
One time in college, I was so broke I didn't want to buy body wash, so I used dish soap instead, and the girl I brought back to my apartment was appalled by it after she used my bathroom. Okay, hypothetical situation. I walk into a dude's room, right? We're gonna hook up. We're literally gonna bone. I see dish soap in your shower. I immediately go to a convenience store. I buy you literally any body wash off the shelf. I also buy you a body moisturizer. I come back to your apartment. I hand you the bag. I tell you to shower immediately and apply both of these things to your body before we are going to If you say yes, we will have If you say no, I will be on my way. Goodbye. Really just exposing yourself if your response is that you'd rather not shower than have the hot demon lady. I'm just saying.
So again, this one's a little more obvious, right? We have a very clear setup here.
One time in college, I was so broke I didn't want to buy body wash, so I used dish soap instead, and the girl I brought back to my apartment was appalled by it after she used my bathroom.
And that text in and of itself is like pretty engaging, right? So then we get to the meat of it.
Okay, hypothetical situation. I walk into a dude's room, right? We're gonna hook up. We're literally gonna bone.
So we get through all of the middle part here, right? All this build up, what's gonna happen? Why is she doing all this? And then for me, the middle part ends here, because like this isn't really the punchline.
Before we are going to If you say yes, we will have If you say no, I will be on my way. Goodbye.
Like, that's not, like, the joke, right? When the whole story is kind of funny, sometimes it becomes difficult to kind of, like, end the joke, like, capstone it. But Ruby does a very good job here, right?
You're just exposing yourself if your response is that you'd rather not shower than have the hot demon lady. I'm just saying.
And, like, this end part isn't necessarily, like, adding a lot of, like, humor to it. I don't necessarily feel like this end part is funnier than the middle, but if it just ended here...
Say yes, we will have If you say no, I will be on my way. Goodbye.
Like, if that was the end of the short, I don't feel like it would be nearly as satisfying. Like, you're sort of satisfied by this end bit. Like, it's all part of the package, right? Every part of your short is going to be weaker if the video as a whole is not sort of grounded properly. Now, this is another short for me. I don't hate this one as much, but I think it is still missing a lot of the things that I'm mentioning here, right? Oh, it's so jiggly. Oh, you gonna cut it? Ooh. Oh, he just popped it up. Oh, he's so skilled. This guy would win MasterChef. Get Gordon Ramsay out here. So I think for me, the capstone, this is the punchline, which isn't really that strong. It's like, oh, the bread is jiggly. I'm jiggly now. Like, that's kind of funny, but it's not really adding like a lot. And this hook isn't like really like, I think this is like visually an okay hook, right? But narratively, we're just like thrown right in, which I don't think is always the best thing to do. The main issue with this, kind of rewatching it right now on the fly, is that like the 3 parts are technically there, but they're not really connected very well. Like, this is the setup. It's so jiggly. Oh, you're gonna cut. But then the rest of the video is like this, where we're just watching this guy cut this jiggly cake, right? Cut it? Ooh. Oh, he just popped it
up.
Like, we're watching him do some cool stuff. I'm just talking about what I'm watching. I mean, this was a react video to be fair, but like, Chef, get Gordon Ramsay out here. All the things are technically there, but like, it doesn't feel nearly as cohesive or satisfying, right? Like, you know, maybe you like seeing the jiggly bread, but like, I don't know how much I'm adding to this as a short. This sort of worked a lot better in the context of a react video. The full video on YouTube, it's like, you know what's going on. I'm talking about what I'm watching, and then there's that context, right? Like, this is like, you can kind of infer that, but it's not sort of laid out like I feel like it needs to be, you know what I mean? Our last video is from Nene Amano. Let's just jump right in.
Did you know that I was a real Akihabara maid in Japan back in the day? No, really, this headband does not lie right now. I was a maid for like, a couple of years, and it was really fun because I consider it kind of like my preparation for VTubing in a way. Because at the maid cafe, we were able to create an environment of people who, you know, were tired from their everyday life. They didn't really have anywhere else to go. But when they came back to the maid cafe, it was like home for them, and they could really be themselves. It's kind of like live streaming, right? Where you make a community and you have all these people and you're like, yeah, I'm home. This is where I belong. So now with VTubing, I'm able to be a maid in a way, but on an even bigger scale. So yeah, thank you for having me. This is where I belong. No more Akihabara maid. Only Tennessee in the sky. Yeah, baby.
So we have the setup here.
Did you know that I was a real Akihabara maid in Japan back in the day? No, really, this headband does not lie right now.
She's got the setup and then another little piece to kind of solidify the themes here, right? And then this video in particular, it almost has like two middle parts because she has like this whole story where she's describing what it was like working there. And then she kind of ties it in to VTubing. So she kind of like flips the script almost where it's like, oh, okay, this is a video about me being a maid. Just kidding. It's actually a means to tie everything back to VTubing, which is what I do now.
Like live streaming, right? Where you make a community and you have all these people and you're like, yeah, I'm home.
We got the 3 acts. We set up that she works at the maid cafe. We talk about what it was like to work at the maid cafe. We switcheroo to talk about VTubing, and then we cap it off by thanking the audience. All that to say, I'm happy how all these experiences have shaped me into the person I am today, right? This video in particular was like almost less comedic, right? It was really like a heartfelt message. But even then, it still is following these same structures. So now we're in the act 3 of this video. See what I did there? Where I'm gonna thank you all for watching and explain that this is a new YouTube channel for me. I have a few other channels, but this is a new one specifically to talk about the topic of video editing and shorts and etc, etc. So to that end, if you guys have any topics you'd like me to cover in future videos, please definitely let me know in the comments, and I would love to kind of see what you guys think. Thanks for watching. I love you.